Hey y'all, this is 012 Boku and
Jackass Jherick. Oop, I forgot I have to use the other hand.
oh, well yeah, you're sort of okay. Got in a little bit more there?
Ask it.
Alright. Well, still sort of out there, but hey, I guess in the small space we only got what we can, but we're coming at you with another movie review, and as you can see, I'm my normal self again, well, somewhat with sinus problems, so sorry if I sound weird, but that's why. But we're coming at you with another review of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Episode 18, Arrogant Palms of a Small Human.
You know, it's a shame we're not doing DBZ because you sound like you got a frog in you in your throat.
Ha 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 ha.
You're welcome, Internet.
Oh, if they even notice. But anyway, we're coming at you with episode 18, which basically is, I'm going to say a pretty straightforward sort of setting up the next part of episodes, but also explaining what happened with Maria Ross and all that jargon. Basically, Edward was taken out there by Major Armstrong, and Edward Elric is with him, and he doesn't know what's going on until they run into Haemon's Breda, who's meeting up with them. Little do they know, after that happens, Alphonse Elric and Winry Rockbell are wondering what happened to him, and they have no idea why until a random Ling Yao comes right in through their window.
How'd you get in here? The window was open. You know, it seemed kind of fitting for a criminal.
And an illegal alien, don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
And, so he explains that, with, reverence and also, I'm going to say promises not made by Alphonse, that Edward was going to be led to the place of Xerxes, to where he had a surprise waiting, where Haemon's Breda, Alex Louis Armstrong, and of course Old Man Funau are all there waiting for him. Also, with this promise, because Barry the Chopper, or Number 66 as he's also called, said he can remember how he got his soul into the armor. He told Ling Yao that Alphonse would know, and Alphonse like, I didn't make that promise.
Yeah, and by he means Roy Mustang.
Wait, who Roy Mustang, Jherick?
Yeah, you remember Roy Mustang told Barry, it's like, well, you could just ask that Alphonse Elric guy, because he's kind of like you.
Oh, did you say Barry?
Well, yeah, I mean, isn't that
Oh, I thought you said Roy. My bad, Jherick.
Oh, no, wait, yeah, you're right. It was actually Ling Yao who told him that.
Yeah. Because Ling Yao gave him the idea, but then Barry gave him the idea that, Alphonse knew, and then, yeah, because I'm like, wait, what's happening here? No worries. Little mix up there, folks, but yeah.
Dyslexia kicking in.
Indeed. And as we know, it goes to Xerxes, to where they're just looking over the ruins. Edward notices something in the ruins, something that looks very familiar, like an alchemic rune symbol, like he saw in Laboratory 5. Wonders about it, but they call him over, and he runs off after them.
And I noticed when we were looking at it, that scene, the symbol was like a pentagram with 5 suns on it, each sun having a different face in different positions. I specifically noticed a happy face, an angry face, and a sad face. I believe at the what would it be, like the 6, 5, and I think 7 position. Well, like here and but the top half was like basically destroyed, so you couldn't make out the other 2. And I did notice, and Edward notices, there's a 2-dragon emblem at the center of it, rather than the traditional 1-dragon that their nation uses.
Yeah, which he does figure out later as he's looking at the symbol later in the evening.
And while he's looking at it, he also remembers that Ling said, I came here because I wanted to see the ruins of Xerxes. It's like, and now I know why.
Yep, yeah, because, if anyone who has seen this, if you haven't figured it out now, I mean, I sort of did when I first saw it, but Ling Yao was after way more than just curiosity. Way more than just curiosity. he obviously probably wants to figure out the immortality, I guess.
Well, he actually did lay that out in the first episode. He was like, my dad's dying. There's like 128 children. I'm like, what was it, 14th or 18th in the line of succession.
Yeah, 14th.
But if I come back with the alchemical secret of immortality, aka the Philosopher's Stone, I'm a shoo-in to get the next throne. But
oh yeah, he does say that. Yeah.
As Boku mentions, he's probably got way bigger ambitions.
Oh yeah. Well, that's part of it to take over Jing, but there probably is more to it where he uses it for himself. But speculation at this point. And let's see, as it also goes on, Edward runs into in Xerxes that Maria Ross is there, and that we learn that Colonel Mustang and pretty much his whole, I don't know, what you call them, regiment? What would you call them?
I'd say his cadre of collaborators.
There you go. Cadre of collaborators, basically his close friends in the military, all help Maria Ross get out of the country and into Xerxes, to where she goes over what Colonel Mustang did, where he makes a fake body, burns the fake body, burns Maria Ross's name tag, sort of roughly dumps Maria Ross into a dumpster, to where Jean Havoc is waiting on the other side for her, and, the whole regular thing ensues.
And the real genius of it is he actually had, I guess he kind of arranged for, Edward Elric and Alphonse to run into her before he faked her death, but he didn't expect them to actually, catch up as quickly. But, they did eventually, catch up, and they see, Roy and what they think is him burning her dead body.
Yeah.
And I even love how in the flashback, when he's explaining to his subordinates, won't they be able to tell us, don't worry, I have a lot of experience burning corpses. A bit of a callback to his days as the hero of the Ishvalan conflict.
Yeah. And as well to that same moment, which we'll get in here into it in a little bit, is that, there's more to the operation than just to save Maria Ross. And they go over really quick how Edward promises he doesn't want any more people to die for his secret, because they lay out, the homunculi and everything, and they're trying to use all the evidence and Major Alex Louis Armstrong's drawings to, have some evidence. But also, Edward's reflecting on Colonel Hughes' death, and he's remembering what Gracia said about how he needs to continue no matter who you think could get hurt, could die, or etc. But then he makes a vow right there to Old Man Fu, Hammond's Breda, Major Armstrong, and Maria Ross that he's going to not to try to let anyone else die for his or his brother's restoration or their mistakes, since they know it is both. Because it was a mistake that they committed a taboo, and they're trying to do another taboo essentially to get their bodies back, but he doesn't want anyone to pay for that mistake anymore.
And again, I love how in the flashback he sees Hughes' wife, and she again mentions that line. It's about how Hughes was always helping people, and that if you don't, his death would be meaningless. It would waste the opportunity he's given you, so you have to keep pushing forward, if not for your sake, then for his. Which, is actually pretty realistic, because when you have a loved one die in combat like that, you want their final ambitions and wishes to be fulfilled no matter what. It's a big deal, and honestly, I really have to commend them again for having a scene like that in the show.
Yep. And as well as he makes that promise, they basically have a nice part to say their farewells to each other. Maria Ross doesn't want anyone knowing she's alive to protect them, mainly her parents. Little bit of a different greeting, not a salute to Edward as she did to Hammond's Breda or Major Armstrong, but a shaking of the hands, and basically, Edward's I haven't gotten you back for that slap, and she's like, you may have time to do that later.
She's like, you'll get me next time.
Yep. And you'll take off, and she takes off to Jing while crying, and Old Man Fu's like, don't waste water.
And I love how, and Boku actually pointed this out. I wasn't even the one who caught on to this. You did. like when she's talking, she's asking Fu what kind of a country is Jing, and he's like,
yes.
it's a country with a rich history, hardworking people, and a vibrant culture.
Yes.
But he does not say a tolerant people.
Yes, in the Japanese version, much like I think it was an episode or two ago, where we had something that was where it was Maria Ross's trial. So I think 2 episodes ago, to where it was where it was Henry Douglas who says even for a woman you should be able to shoot at that range. Where that was only in the Japanese one. In this one, you have.
At that range, anybody would be able to hit the target.
Yeah, I was not thinking of that, but I was thinking for this one in the English dub, as Jherick said it, people who are hardworking and can and are good people, in Japanese, he basically starts off saying they are a tolerant people, they're tolerant, of other cultures and are hardworking people and da-da-da, and I'm like, tolerant of other cultures, eh? And I don't mean to stoke the fires, but screw you, YouTube. That is not China, and Jing is clearly based on China.
And I have a feeling the only reason why this was omitted in the English version is not because of China, interestingly enough, but because of Japan. Because Japan hates China's fucking guts, and if they would have put that in the English version, you better believe the guys back at the HQ would have heard, and frankly, the fans and them would have been pissed, because China hates Japan, and Japan hates China even worse.
Yep, and as it is I looked this up too as a little side note, not to get on a new tangent, but I looked it up just curious, because I've been researching a few things now and I'm curious about it. Apparently, Hiromu Arikawa based this whole manga off of an idea of like the subjugation of the Ainu people in Japan or China during World War II, because there was that whole thing with Japan and China during World War II. So I guess it was something that she felt bad about, or a part of history she felt strong about. So clearly things why Mestria is sort of maybe that way. There's also other references to World War II, and I don't know if she thinks China's a great country or whatnot, but you can sort of see where it's sort of there where, it doesn't seem like there's that much wrong in Xing, and that Mestria is the country with all the problems, so. But maybe I'm looking too much into it, but you never know. It's happened with other manga writers before.
And I mean, not to get ahead of ourselves, but like you mentioned, this has clearly got its fire stoked from World War II, and you can even notice it in the weapons. Like, you see 45 specials, you see 1911 military grades, and I think in that last part, Risa Hawkeye was using what looks like one of the original versions of the Lee Enfield sniper rifle.
Yeah. Well, not only that, too, the uniforms are very Nazi-ish. Fuhrer Bradley, obviously, the use of Fuhrer.
Well, I'd say actually their uniforms probably look a bit more British, maybe like French Foreign Legion. Not quite Nazi. Nazi would definitely be darker with different accents, more epaulets, and a greater emphasis on... but yeah, it's definitely of the uniforms for the... what's their nation called again?
Amestria.
For the Amestrians is definitely European inspired, but I'd say probably something closer to Britain, maybe like the what's it called, the Nordic countries, something of that nature.
Well, again, taken probably from all the empires of human history in many ways. Which again, they're very clever, but much like other manga writers. And again, if anyone wants to comment on this and say I'm wrong about Hiromu Takahashi, let me know, because I don't want to be spouting my mouth off. And if you come at me with honest to God facts, I will not mind.
And there's also another interesting thing they bring up in while they're in Xerxes. If I remember, they got to talking about how the practice of alchemy came to Jing in the first place. Man Fu refers to as the sage from the West. And it's funny because he asked Edward about how did alchemy come to your lands? And he said, well, a wise man reportedly came from these ruins.
From
Talking
East.
about from the east, talking about an empire that was far more advanced than anything that had ever been seen, but had been destroyed in a single day. We refer to him as the wise sage of the east, and he's like, funny. That's almost exactly like our legend of how Alkestria came to Jing, except we call him the sage of the west. And it's interesting because when you see these depictions of them, the one for the Almestrians looks like Jesus. The one for the people of Jing kind of looks a bit more like either Confucius or...
Oh, definitely more Confucius.
But it's interesting because in a way it parallels the how should I put this? The similarities in the Messiah figures and even in their stories. Like Jesus has been argued to be an allegory for Confucius, and vice versa. There's Thoth, the great wise monkey of Egypt, who's said to be the Jesus allegory for the Egyptians. I mean, you could go down each theocracy and you pretty much find a Messiah who's got a very similar backstory.
Yeah, and to know that that's paraphrasing Father is a little disturbing to me that he's like a Jesus figure, but hey, it was clearly there. So
and heck, they were both doing the same pose, the Christian praise the sun.
Pretty much. And hey, the sun god Leto. But other than that, after all that takes place, and we go back to Edward looking at the mural on the wall, we have random squatters of Ishvalans show up, and they try to attack Edward, and their use is to kidnap Edward, hold him hostage to get their country back. Edward's thinking he's not going to try to have to fight all these people, but then all of a sudden a old lady named Sean and a little boy come up, tell them to stop the madness, well, she says, I don't hate all Amestrians, just some. The little boy says, I hate Amestrians and what they did, but I don't hate the ones who saved me, because his arm was saved, and I guess she was saved. She must have had a bullet wound or some injury over her eye. She was missing an eye. And they were just explaining how the rock bells had saved them, because they mentioned these two healing doctors. Edward brought it up if it was the rock bells. They said yes, so they get to talking. Edward, being as curious as he always is, asks, how did they die? And they brought it up that all of a sudden it was an Ishvalan who attacked them, and you clearly see in the flashback that they're discovering while the boy and the old lady Sean are in absolute fear. It's Scar, because they say it was a man who had tattoos all over his arm, and it was Scar's arm in the flashback. With
kind of the implication that maybe the rock bells were the one who attached the arm, to save him.
Yeah, and it's funny how, Scar kills them after they saved him, so what a grateful attitude there, Scar.
And it's, kind of a bit of a, this doesn't really tie into the show, but odd truth about this, I've actually got two nurses in my family, and one of them may have served in World War II, because I got a grandma, ironically my dad's mom, who was born in 1904, and she was, I believe, a Army Reserve...
Does he need to go out?
Sorry.
Well, it's okay.
But yeah, she was apparently in the Army Reserve. She was a lieutenant, second lieutenant, and given the timetable, I'd have to say she probably served in World War II, most likely, due to the high demand for soldiers, no matter what at the point. Not quite as bad, not quite as desperate as Vietnam, but they got pretty close.
And as well, after all this, Edward heads back. I'm not gonna obviously say to Amestria to deal with his things there. Meanwhile, you have Barry and Colonel Mustang all working together to draw out an attack with Barry's to hopefully claim the soul back. And it's Barry's body who's looking for them. And at first, he goes to Fallman to attack Fallman because he figured out where they were at. And then all of a sudden, Jean Havoc's there. Kane Fury, who I believe is a tech sergeant, is helping them listen in, passing their communication to one another. Reza Hawkeye is a sniper in the situation. And, they're all working together to try to hopefully bring Barry in to capture this person alive to learn more about the Fifth Laboratory and the people who are behind killing General Hughes. And Barry's acting weird because he notices something about this. So, like he's struggling with the body, his arm gets ripped off, he's still realizing something about it. They get it outside, Riza shoots it in the hand, and all of a sudden Barry realizes, that's me, that's my body. Oh, they must have put some sort of feral animal inside of it, and now it's like all dead, it's rotting. They still want to take it alive, but, Barry's like, oh, I gotta chop it up, it's not fair, I have to chop it up.
I even love how he says, hey, it's my body, I'll chop it up if I want to,
Yeah, and the way he gets off the glee, that's the Barry I miss, the psychotic Barry that, does not really exist in this one, really.
And we also get to see just the cool teamwork of, Team Mustang, because this whole time he's staying in communication with them, but he's using, code names and a cover story, he's referring to Riza as being his girlfriend, and she's running a shop, and whenever there's too loud of a noise, it's like, oh, a customer just got rowdy. Oh, a customer is starting to mouth off to Jacqueline. I had to get a little rough with him.
Yeah, and
it's actually pretty cool because he knows that they could be listening in on him.
And they're all using girlfriend names to trick everybody that's his girlfriend, and everybody's in the office pointing at Mustang like, hey, look at him talking to his girlfriends again.
And again, it just kind of goes to show that you think Roy Mustang's this goofball, but the guy's learned a lot in his time in the military. I mean, dude's like an understudy to Bradley the Chadley. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and it's really, really just cool and good. And then right before they think they maybe have a handle on the situation, as Fallman and Gene Havoc and Barry the Chopper argue over cutting up this body, you have Riza Hawkeye go, be back with you in a moment. I just got a customer myself. She turns the rifle on Gluttony, who's standing behind her, shoots him right in the shoulder, but then she's terrified because Gluttony's shoulder heals and he gets up looming at her with creepy red eyes.
Nothing moves Gluttony.
Yep, or the Blob. But either way, that's how the episode ends. So, pretty good episode explaining what happened and then moving things forward, and hey. And let's see, characters. This one, Jherick, was rather hard for me. I really couldn't find anyone that stood out on their own because I think all performances, even from the supporting cast, were all equally good. Nothing seemed out of place or wrong. Everybody's actions were good. Nobody outshined everybody. It was all equal field. Everything was just well acted in both Japanese, English. It all blended well to me. So I really don't have an MVP for this episode, really.
Well, I got two, but this isn't more about action for me on this one. It's kind of just the delivery of the lines, and I'm gonna have to go with what's his name? The lieutenant who was in jail.
Maria Ross.
Maria Ross, and with the little kid who was next to the old lady side.
Old lady Sean, the little kid, yeah.
Because,
who we are saying is a boy.
Well, the Japanese credits say he's a boy. But anyways,
yeah,
I mean,
a boy.
The line he gives to Edward Elric is I do still hate you, but I know that not all of your people are bad, and I am grateful for what they gave me. It was pretty convincing how he did it, and I have to say, for a guy who didn't get credited in the English version, he gave a pretty damn good delivery, and honestly, it came off very sincere. And for Maria Ross, I mean, she was aces in this one. She gave a very stirring speech to Alexander...
Alex Louis Armstrong.
Alex Louis Armstrong and the other guy, thanking them for helping him.
Heyman's Breda, yeah.
Yeah, and basically declaring how she owes,
Colonel Mustang
a great favor for this. And then I love how she instantly softens up and goes to a very non-formal tone when she's speaking with Edward, because, again, she may be military, but she's still a woman, and this is a small boy who's lost a lot in his life, and she knows this. And I think in a very real sense, that almost motherly big sister vibe she gives kind of helps him a little, because up until then, it's been a lot of gloom and doom for him up until now, and having her just give him this gentle, soft greeting like a member of a family probably really helped to pick up his spirits a little bit. And plus, that scene where she's wandering off into the desert with food to go to Jing, she starts off, trying to keep up the brave face, asking him the normal questions like, what is Jing like? But you can see when she's thinking about how she's going to have to leave her homeland and not even tell her parents, you see her crying. You can see this is a painful thing. And hell, she probably even knows Fu's lying. I mean, come on. She worked in the military. She has to know that Jing is not going to be an easy place for her to live.
Yeah.
But right now, it's the only place she has.
And you know what, Jherick, I probably will agree with you on that. Maria Ross's performance, of course. Who is she again? Meredith, Kaori Nizuka in Japanese, Meredith McCoy in English. Great performance from her, I have to agree. Also, Sean Noriko, Umura and Linda Young did a great job as well, because those two would have been the one if I had to pick somebody, because there was something about Old Lady Sean and the boy that resonated with me too. That was like some of the best characterization in the episode, but it was only just because everybody else did a great work in this thing, but I would say they were the ones that were on top for me.
And I gotta say, how hilarious for Linda Young to be this pacifist-ish fallen woman trying to sue for peace when originally she just wanted to destroy those filthy monkeys. How dare they stand in the way of Lord Frieza and his mighty empire?
Would you have known that if I didn't tell you, Jherick?
Probably not. But the fact that you did mention it kind of impresses me because, let's face it, the new Frieza isn't.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, I guess since Jherick mentioned that, a bow to Chris Ayers. May you rest in peace. You will be missed because you were good. Damon Mills, overrated, sorry, and because of all your crap with Vic Mignogna, sorry.
But hey,
finger to that, but...
this just proves one thing, though. I mean, Frieza may have had his golden resurrection, but like the old saying says, you can polish up a turd, but it's still just a shiny turd. Isn't that right, Damien?
Yep. And Linda Young, you were always my favorite, so hats off to you as Frieza. I will always remember you.
Indeed.
Actually, I'm going to talk about you in the present tense because I don't know if you're dead yet, so I'm sorry if you're still alive. But, let's see. Sort of wrapped it up with the final thoughts. But again, just to reiterate, good episode. Bit of great action at the end that was enjoyable. Great sort of revolving everything, solving the plot, and knowing what all the characters have to do to go forward.
Yeah. And again, this just really shows that how much of a tight-knit family Roy Mustang's little group is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, heck, when Gene Havoc busts in to protect the other guy and Barry from from Barry's body, it's like the scent of cigarette, the scent of an ashtray. Gene, it's like, this is why I hate dealing with you tech guys. You never understand what we field guys have to go through. Why do you think I'm wearing the ski mask? I mean, it's subtle, but if you understand anything about, field ops work, espionage, sabotage, any of that shit, don't blurt that out in public. He even says, dude, just try not to do it again. They could be listening from anywhere.
Yep.
Great attention to detail, this show.
And that's pretty much it for now. What did you guys think? Have you seen up to episode 18? If not, just leave whatever comment you want down below. And, I'll try to get back to you on it if you can. If not, hey, I hope you enjoyed watching it for whoever was. But this is 012 Boku.
Jackass Jherick.
And we'll see you again later. And hopefully, I'll be feeling better too. And not as bad as this. I mean, I'm not terribly sick, but I'll tell you what. Sinus colds or whatever or infection, whatever this has been, not fun either way.
We're going to have to alchemize you a sensu bean, man.
It would be nice if it were possible. Alright, but until then, guys, deuces.
Deuces.